using sleep and routine to help fight depression. So as you may already know, issues with sleep and mental health are quite common for the autistic population, and there's also a significant overlap. So in this video, I'm going to share some of the things that I've tried recently to improve my sleep and how that has also had a positive impact on depression symptoms as well. Hi everyone, Paul Mikolev here from Autism from the Inside. I make weekly videos sharing the human side of autism, so make sure you hit subscribe to get the latest content. So one of the ways that I like to characterize the autistic experience is that while we have the same problems that everyone has, everyday life problems like needing to eat and needing to sleep and needing to have a job and needing to form relationships and all of those things, we have to solve all of those problems that are the same as the rest of the population, except that the out-of-the-box solutions that tend to be at least a pretty good first try for most of the population tend to just not work all that well. And we have to find an out-of-the-box solution, one that is uniquely fitted to our own neurology and the way that we do things. So I personally have always known that I seem to need a lot more sleep than most of my peers around me. I remember being in high school and university and people talking about pulling all-nighters to get work done and things like that. Just thinking, wow, there's no way I could possibly stay up all night without sleeping, let alone be productive enough to get any work done during that time. So that is just not something that I ever did in my entire education. And at the same time, I also recognized the effect that even a couple of hours less sleep had on my ability to perform basic functions. So I used to do a lot of sort of volunteer work. Well, work is probably not the best descriptor, but I used to volunteer a lot in youth groups and things like that. And every once in a while, we'd have like weekend camps and things. And you don't always get a lot of sleep when you're having this intense experience and there's so many fun new people that you've just met. And I really felt that the next day. If I had, say, 5 or 6 hours of sleep, I would be almost like a zombie for the next 24 hours. And trying to focus, trying to pay attention, trying to make decisions or do any other kind of executive function task was almost impossible for me, even with only a couple of hours less sleep. It's almost like everyone else had an autopilot setting that would still work for them, even if they didn't get the sleep that they needed. Whereas for me to function, I didn't have that autopilot. And if my regular pilot was out of action for any reason, then I was completely incapacitated. The converse is also true. I tended to be able to wake up in the morning, especially think of like a university party with alcohol and things like that, and we all crash somewhere, and then for some reason I'm already up by 7 or 8 in the morning and most of the others are trying to sleep till midday, and I'm like, come on guys, let's do something fun. So being out of sync with others, not finding the same solutions as other people is a common challenge, and sleep is one of the areas where I've noticed a significant difference in what I need so that I have to find a solution for myself. And recently, the consequences for not getting that solution right have kind of leveled up a notch with constant headaches and very recently diagnosed with migraines as well. So some of this is slowly improving with things like finding a good migraine medication and stuff like that. But what I found is that the thing that has the most impact on how I feel is my sleep. And what I've learned recently is that there are a couple of really simple but effective things that you might like to try to increase the quality and quantity of your sleep. So some of the things that made the biggest difference for me is that I regulated my wake up time, which means that on the weekend, on the weekday, no matter when I go to bed, I always wake up at the same time. And over the last couple of weeks, this really sunk in, and suddenly it's actually quite easy to wake up at that time. and it becomes easier to go to bed at the right time as well. And finally, my body is getting into that rhythm of this is when you're supposed to be asleep and this is when you're supposed to be awake. And that's helping me stay awake during the day as well. I've also just been tracking the amount of time I spend in bed, or my sleep opportunity, because it's not necessarily that I'll be asleep the whole time, but that's the opportunity that I'm giving myself for sleep. So recognizing that those two things weren't equal made a huge difference for me, because now instead of just focusing on time asleep, now I'm thinking also about what's the quality of the sleep as well, and what are some things that I can do to improve that. One of the reasons that this came up as a really big issue for me is because this past January, just gone, I took a significant amount of time off work where I didn't have a schedule and I didn't have any regular commitments and things like that. And I found that the lack of routine absolutely messed with my ability to sleep and wake up and feel rested at all. So in the first 2 weeks of being back, I didn't have a single migraine, whereas in the 6 weeks I had off, I had a migraine at least once or twice every week. And during the day, I just felt like I was falling asleep in my chair and couldn't wake myself up, but at the same time couldn't really sleep properly either, because I'd already tried to sleep and there was just didn't seem to be any way out of this cycle. On holiday, I also found that there was a bit of a social cost to trying to enforce my own bedtime, because there are a couple of kind of golden hours that you don't really get at any other time of the day, where the other people that I want to spend time with are free and available, and we've got the opportunity to spend some time together. And if that runs a little bit late, then that's kind of the only opportunity we're going to get, because we can't say, oh, we're having a fantastic conversation, but it's 10 p.m., so I need to go to bed. If I do that, we're not going to just wake up the next morning and pick up where we left off. If we're in the flow of having a good conversation, a good connection, then I kind of felt like I had to stay there if I wanted that opportunity, which in turn messed up my sleep routine. I also tried having naps during the day, which have worked for me in the past sometimes, like the odd power nap. But when my sleep routine was already messed up, having naps during the day didn't help me feel less tired. There was one day that I must have slept in till like midday almost. I had so much sleep. I tried to get up in the morning. I had some breakfast. I did a few things. I was just so tired that I just went straight back to bed and couldn't force myself to get up till almost midday. And then I thought, surely I've had enough sleep by now. Like, I haven't done anything strenuous. What's going on here? So I got up, I went for a run, I had a cold shower, and then I went straight back to bed, because there was nothing that could make me feel awake during that time. And no matter how much I tried to get more sleep, that wasn't the issue. The issue was that my body didn't have a strong routine and a strong rhythm, and it didn't know in and of itself when I was supposed to be awake and when I was supposed to be asleep, which meant that I was relying on other things like trying to wake myself up with a cold shower, and those things were just nowhere near as effective as they should have been. And you can imagine the spiral effect that that has on depression when nothing feels worthwhile. I don't even want to get out of bed. I've got no reason to get out of bed. If I get out of bed, I feel terrible. I've got a headache, or at best, a migraine at worst. When I'm awake, I feel like I want to be asleep. When I'm asleep, I feel like I'm not sleeping well and I want to get up and do something. I constantly want to be energized, but just have absolutely no energy at all. How can I do the things that I know I need to do, like speak to people and have social interaction, so that I can stay out of depression when everything in life is so hard, when I'm so tired? The answer is you can't really. It has a massive negative impact on mental health to be in that situation. So what I've found now, this one simple step of having a consistent wake time and then trying to build the rest of my life around that, to have a consistent sleep routine and train my body when it's supposed to be asleep and when it's supposed to be awake, suddenly during the day, I feel okay. I haven't had a headache in a couple of weeks. Even the other day when I was at a friend's place and we were having a great conversation, we were playing cards, it was getting a little bit late. I ended up staying till after midnight and getting less than 5 hours sleep that night. It was okay. Like, I woke up the next day feeling like I was tired, but not feeling like I can't do life anymore. There's a huge difference between feeling tired and feeling completely overwhelmed with fatigue, which was my previous experience. So that was one little blip in my week that, going back to my routine, has, within 1 or 2 days, suddenly I feel better again and I'm back into my routine. So the more consistent I can be on a regular basis, the less important it is to be consistent every day, because I can have that one day where I stay up a little bit later than usual, or that one day where I don't follow the exact same routine, and it's not going to completely mess me around. So anyway, the lesson here for me is that I need to not only learn how to listen to my body, but learn how to teach my body what it is supposed to do by giving it constant, consistent reinforcement. For example, waking up at the same time every day. So that's made a huge difference to my life and my mental health. Otherwise, I hope you found this video valuable. I'm interested to hear if you struggle with sleep as well, and if you've tried to build yourself a consistent sleep routine. So please leave a comment and share your experience on that if you can. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.